Start planning today to celebrate the 40th Equip Exposition Trade Show this October 17th through the 20th in Louisville, Kentucky. Expo is the best place for landscapers to find the latest equipment, tools, and technology to get more productive and efficient. And then you can go into our 30-acre demo yard and test the products for yourself. Explore new business opportunities in one of our 50-plus education sessions and learn firsthand from experts in landscaping, hardscaping, irrigation, pool installation, tree care, and outdoor lighting. And don't miss the new Thursday night arena concert with Third Eye Blind and Dylan Scott. Also, there's our UTV test track and our main stage events with top-notch speakers like Brian Fullerton. And remember, you can save 50% on the ticket price with Brian's discount code. We've provided a link for you in the show description. See you at Equip.
You're now listening to the Fullerton Unfiltered podcast. Straightforward, no-nonsense business advice. Completely unfiltered. Grow your business. Grow your life. Now, here's your host, Brian Fullerton.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode of the Fullerton Unfiltered podcast. It is your host, Brian Fullerton here, hanging with you guys, and good morning. We're jumping right on into this thing. We're coming in hot. Joined today, James Fritz, all the way over from beautiful Long Island, New York. What's going on, brother? How you doing?
What's going on, Brian? It's great to be here. I really appreciate you having me.
Absolutely, man. Well, I'm really excited about doing a podcast. We actually were talking for 15, 20 minutes and cutting up back and forth, and I realized I don't think this is a coaching call. I think we were supposed to be doing a podcast because you started telling your story. And I was like, wait a minute, hold on. I don't want to miss this one because in just the first 10 minutes that you were giving me the debrief, my jaw was on the floor the whole time with how much stuff you guys got going on. This is going to be a really special treat, guys. So let's just really quick. We're going to slow down and speed up. If you guys are new here to the podcast, it's Lawns Lessons Life. We're all about helping you guys grow more successful lawn and landscaping business. Half of our podcast episodes are solo shows where I try to, share some stories from our business, our life, maybe give some thought process that's helped us along the way. But then the other side is every other podcaster. So I'd like to get you guys on and get some great guests, get some great testimonies. Here's what you guys got going on in the industry and with your businesses. And today's going to be a little bit more of the latter here with James. And I'm telling you what, this is a really, really incredible story. We got a lot to break down here. Not a lot of time to do it. I got a hard stop in about 33 minutes. So we're going to get the most out of James that we can. So James, I'm going back to you, brother. This is your show. Let's do this really quick. You've heard the podcast before, but give me the 2 or 3 minute highlight reel. And then we're going to start breaking some things down today. I'm really excited about this one.
Yeah, absolutely, Brian. So thank you very much again for having me. So I started in the landscaping industry about 3-4 years ago. So back in 2019, I started off because my parents actually got separated, and I kind of was, thrown into the position of taking over, the landscape maintenance for the property. And my father was very meticulous with his landscaping and kind of showed me what to do. And then before I knew it, my next door neighbor was like, "Hey, you're out here doing your lawn. You do a great job. I'd love to throw you some extra money, so that way you can take care of mine." And before I knew it, I was taking over the entire block. And then I actually registered the company. Somehow got approved for a credit card with $5,000 limit. And this is not great advice, so don't follow this. But I ended up PayPaling myself $5,000 so that way I could take that money and go buy a really crappy pickup truck. So wow. I was paying like 28% interest on it. Definitely not the best move, but I had to make it work. So and then before I knew it, I was doing about 30, 40 properties on a Saturday. And now we're, on track to do over $1 million in gross revenue. We have 10 full-time guys that work for us. We have a maintenance crew. We do over 200 properties a week. And we're doing irrigation work as well as design work and tree removal. So we're really, really heading in the right direction. I'm very fortunate. And I'm doing this all still while working in a full-time job doing IT work. So I'm currently working about 90 hours a week. So
90 to 140 hours a week, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
That's what you put on paper, right? On the paycheck. But no.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
Dude, that's awesome, man. That's awesome. So let me do this really quick. Just a little context, guys. For some of you listening in, there's no right or wrong answer. Everybody's life is different. Everybody's background is different. Your network is different. But many times I get on a coaching call or I get a comment on YouTube or even an email and somebody says, "Hey, what can I expect to make, my first year in lawn care, my second year in lawn care? What can a lawn care maintenance business do? What kind of revenue can I generate? What kind of profit can I make?" And I'm always I don't know if I've really solved the riddle to answer that question the most effectively, because it's such an open-ended question. Because my first year I did like $18,000 in revenue. I was 18, 19. I was dumb as a stump. And that doesn't mean that's why I did 19 grand. I didn't know what I didn't know. And my ambition level and my thought process was only where it was at. I've done coaching calls with other folks. They, their first year in business, they call up and, hey, my first year I've done 800,000 here. I'm looking to take it to the next level. And they're asking me questions like, what's the best mower, trimmer, blower, edger? Okay. So, it doesn't always mean like you need to be Mr. Business Guy or have all your answers figured out. A lot of folks go out there, make a big mess, and then they got to backfill with a couple different things. I had a person on a coaching call about 2 years ago, really impressed me, managed a couple hundred clients. He was a superintendent of a high school and had a half dozen guys working for him and doing $200-300 grand a year with his business while being superintendent for a pretty sizable school district. And so my point is, like, for any of you guys that are out there looking to make a go in the lawn and landscaping, and who's looking to start a green industry business and who is it for? Well, James maybe he'll tell you, maybe humbly won't tell you, but he makes a great income doing what he does 9 to 5. But James, here's my question. We're going to volley it back to you. What made you get started in the lawn and landscape business with your current background?
So, I mean, really the biggest thing so obviously, like I saw the opportunity when, people valued the work that I did. And in all honesty, I don't see a future in me doing IT work for the rest of my life. It's not something I enjoy. I like to be out there. I like to work with clients. I like to, provide a great product. And thankfully, a lot of my clients have seen the value in what we bring. And in all honesty, in the area that I work in, to be completely honest, there's probably close to 100 landscapers in the area that I work in alone. And so it's a very oversaturated market. There's tons of landscapers. And everyone told me it's not going to be possible. You're not going to go anywhere. Well, clearly something is going right for me. And what I did was I looked at, what the market is, and I said, what can I do differently? Where is the gap that I need filled? And every person who I spoke to would tell me the same thing that they were upset with their landscaper. Lack of communication, unclear billing, and just trying to get someone on the phone to talk to when they had a concern. And in all honesty, that's how we became so successful so fast. I had all my clients have my personal cell phone, just like yours probably do as well, Brian. And even if it's not even a phone call back, just a quick text message, just to acknowledge that they exist, means the world to them. And, using great pieces of software, we're in an age where, thankfully there's tons of software out there where we can be very successful at a pretty inexpensive cost. Like, for example, Yardbook, Jobber, all these great pieces of software that allow us to give that clear, concise billing without adding all the workload onto us or having to hire someone. And that really goes a long way as well. So that's awesome. Really kind of what really made it work for me. And, and it's, and like you had said, it's really, there's no right or wrong answer to anything. Like, for example, I know you're a big Echo guy for your weed whackers. I hate Echo weed whackers. I'm a big Steel guy, sure. So it really comes down to your personal preference, and it's really just trial and error. I was, my first few years of doing this, I made so many mistakes, countless, and it cost me thousands of dollars. It happens. But the biggest thing is you pick yourself back up, you learn from your mistakes, and you move forward in that, because you're going to have tough days. Like where I'm located right now, unfortunately, we just had actually really bad flooding. We lost $8,000 worth of material. Could I sit there and cry about it and say, wow, this sucks? No, you got to pick yourself back up and move forward, because that's how you're successful in business, is always constantly looking to the next day and how can you progress and move forward.
Man, that's all. I mean, okay, so here's what we're going to do, folks. You guys can tell we're drinking out of a fire hose. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to pull the break for a quick second. We're going to hear from today's show sponsors. We're both going to get a sip of water because James is going to go ham on you guys for the next couple minutes. You can tell, okay? Like this is fun conversation. I love you guys that have it going on because you're so excited, and then there's everything you guys say is like liquid gold, okay? I'm telling you, it's like just spewing like wisdom and knowledge from the mouth, okay? So here's what we're going to do. We're actually going to hear from today's show sponsor, which is Echo. No, I'm just totally kidding, by the way. I was like, well, that's a bad time to say Steel, right? I'm totally having fun, bro. Like, that'd be so hilarious. Well, actually, I did a video shop tour, by the way, with Jason Creel, and inside that video, he promoted this like Husqvarna trimmer that he loved for like 3 minutes, and then he goes, but you know what? He's got this southern draw. He goes, you know what, Brian? Knowing my luck, this whole thing's probably sponsored by Echo or Steel, and it was brought to you by Steel at that time. So that was too funny. But so look, folks, it is what it is. All right, we're all having fun together. So, but in all seriousness, there's a lot of great stuff that James has got going on with his company. I want to kind of press in a little bit more. How are you growing so fast? What's the vision for the company? You got this mob of guys out there right now just putting stuff together in a good way, not like New York gangster mob. You know what I'm saying? Like, like just a little clarity there. But but you were talking about how you're busy. You actually have a couple other irons in the fire that outside of the business and outside of a demanding career, you have a full-time volunteer firefighting kind of situation and participation. You're engaged to be married. So folks, like if you've ever been through any of those kind of seasons or, have other side, commitments, like that's a lot. And then you have a 9 to 5 and then you have a company doing $1 million with 10 guys. Like, and people say I'm busy and I'm like, no, I'm not as busy as you think. Guys like James are actually busy. So I want to hear how your time management is working. How have you been able to scale the company, so quickly? So you got another 15, 20 minutes here, James. You got a quick second?
Yeah, absolutely. Of course.
All right, cool. So let's do this, guys. We're going to hear from today's show sponsors because we got some obligations. We got to make sure that the lights are paid and the bills are paid around here. So let's do this really quick. We're going to hear from today's show sponsors, and then we're going to come right on back.
This is your invitation to Lawntrepreneur Academy Live 2023 in Novi, Michigan, Saturday, November 11th. The lineup is power-packed. You won't want to miss it. Learn from incredible speakers like Leroy Maines, Keith Kalfas, Caleb and Brittany Allman, Sam Gimble, Weston Zimmerman, and Jeff Joyner, just to name a few. Tickets are on sale now, and hurry because seating is limited to just 300.
Hey, what's up? It's Keith Kalfas. Get your tickets now for the 2023 Lawntrepreneur Academy Live.
Once you purchase your ticket, you'll be added to our private Facebook group where you can network with other attendees, get access to the discounted hotel room block, and get the inside scoop for the Friday night party brought to you by Kohler. Thank you to this year's sponsors, Xmart, Sure Track Trailers, Yard Book, and Boss Snowplow for helping to bring this incredible event to life. We can't wait to see you November 11th, Novi, Michigan, at Lawntrepreneur Academy Live 2023. Get your ticket today at lawntrepreneur.academy.com or use the link in the podcast description. Lawntrepreneur Academy Live.
All right, guys, well, let's jump right back into it. James, we're going right back to you, my friend. So safe to say you're a little busy, but so let me ask you this. How long has the company been established since what the credit card and the first truck on purchase, or was it?
Yeah, so that was in end of 2019. So I was a little late to the game. So I was probably October. So yeah, we're probably on, I think we're year 4.
Year 4. Okay.
And but you always know the first few years aren't,
scrimmage.
Really anything though.
Yeah. For most of us, they're scrimmage. You know what I'm saying? I think my first year or two, I didn't have liability insurance, which, by the way, folks, don't do that. Okay. It's like $300
first thing you get.
Yeah. It's $300 to $1,000 a year, maybe a couple $1,000 once you get a little bit bigger outfit. It's pennies. Okay. So let's go back to you, brother. So we got the foundation laid about why you got cutting grass and doing landscaping. But nonetheless, dude, you're busy. I would imagine you got a full-time vision for the company, possibly, moving out of IT. So where are you guys at today? How did you scale to $1 million plus company in just 3 or 4 years? I'm sure that's the big elephant in the room question that a lot of folks have.
Yeah, so 100%. So, dude, like a lot of guys, like I know this is going to kind of contradict what you say sometimes is knowing your worth. Well, I kind of disagree with that. In the beginning, when I was first starting off, obviously we don't know really what we're doing. I came in at really low prices where to the point where I kind of really wasn't even making money because I didn't know what I was doing. So I didn't feel that it was fair to charge for these clients, industry standard pricing because A, I wouldn't get the job and get the opportunity to learn. And B, I'm not providing the quality that some of these other big companies are out there for. The best thing that I learned was learn on other people's money. So if I can just maybe break even or make a few $100, that's a win in my pocket because I just got the education on how to do this job better for next time. Because you could sit there and watch and listen to 100 different podcasts and books. You'll never really get it until you go out there and do it yourself. Now, the biggest thing is don't take on these big clients like Verizon and stuff like that and burn the bridge. You want to take some of the smaller clients who, listen, if you mess up, does it suck? Yes, but you still do right by them at the end of the day. But if you burn the bridge, it's really not the end of the world.
So did that give you the opportunity to get your foot in front of the door of more people than you would have thought initially?
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, because a lot of people would then say, hey, this young kid, he's doing really good quality work. His pricing is extremely low. And then the thing that my grandfather always told me was, you do a good job, they'll maybe tell one person. You do a bad job, they'll tell 5 people. And that is the most honest statement I've ever heard. And one of the other great things that actually worked out really well for me to help exponentially grow the business was it was Home Advisor, but now it's Angie's List.
Okay.
So we would have, there would be jobs that would come in on there, and we were able to get a lot of clients very fast from that, because the hardest thing when you're starting the business is getting your name out there. So you have to be able to, come in a little lower than some of the other guys and just do as much marketing as you can, whether it be door-to-door hangers or postcards, and just great tools like Angie's List. Because we're in an age where all these new homeowners that are purchasing houses, the first thing that they're going to do is go on Google, Angie's List, Home Advisor to try to find a landscaper. And unfortunately, a lot of landscapers don't see the value in that. So if you're one of those landscapers that's out there on Angie's List or Facebook, you're already ahead of the game. Even having a website is ahead of the game. And that establishing that reputation online is the number one key to growing exponentially fast because of the age that we're in.
So did you guys take advantage of those websites and your own
100%.
website? Is that okay? Cool. I love that.
Yeah,
man.
and in all honesty, I believe that I would say probably about 80% of how we were able to grow so fast was because of Angie's List, Facebook, and our own website. Because when you're when you're first starting out, make a website that makes you guys seem that you've been doing it for 10 years, 20 years, and that you're experts in the industry, because you need to have that reputation. Otherwise, some people won't even give you that chance to prove yourself, whether you have zero experience or even if you have 20 years of experience. They don't want to just take your word for it. They want to see proof. And having a website and knowing that you're a reputable company, that if they do have a problem, that you're there for them, goes a long way. Because at the end of the day, people are spending a lot of money.
I'm listening because I just literally this morning finished up a podcast episode on Kid Contractor Podcast, Caleb and Brittany Allman, with my brother Adam with Branded Bull, talking about websites because they rebranded their website. I literally just finished that podcast this morning. Adam was just dropping nuggets. I mean, it was a solid podcast. And then I had Adam on my my podcast a couple times over the last couple of weeks, talking about branding, marketing, the whole deal. If you guys don't know, brandedbull.com or brandedbullinc.com, that's my brother. Building websites, incredible stuff. It's just next level. But everything you're saying is what he says. Everything he says is what you're saying. And I couldn't agree more. I mean, it's solid. Let me ask you this. Because we only have so much time together, I want to ask about finding those 10 guys that are working for you, but you're also working a full-time, job and commitment, a career. Like a job is like something you're making $11 an hour at Wendy's, some extra income, delivering pizzas. I get it. I love it. Okay.
Right.
A career, you're making 60, 70, 80, 100 grand a year. You get some full-time commitments. Like you can get in trouble if you mess some stuff up here. You know what I'm saying? Like, so you have a good career that you might be looking to, bow out of sooner rather than later. But how are you able to manage a steady flow of guys and workflow and schedules and estimating and bidding jobs while still, not half-assing it at your 9 to 5? So that's a question I get a lot of time with. How do I bring on guys? How do I keep guys motivated? Where do I find guys? Talk to me about maybe a little bit all of the above for the next couple of minutes. I think that'd be really helpful.
Yeah, 100%. So when I started the company, I being a volunteer firefighter and EMT, I was very fortunate that I was able to find some young guys who lived in the community who were hard workers and cared and had that passion to help others and just do good quality work. So when I first started off the company, that's where I got a lot of my guys from. Some of the guys are still with me. Some of them aren't. They moved on to bigger and better things. And I always tell my guys, I hope you leave my company and you move on to greater and better things. I hope you never go backwards. And that's really the truth. I never fault anyone for moving on to something better, because I truly want the best for everyone. And that finding the guys like that was really what helped kickstart the company. And then throughout the years, we've had people who just have applied to us. But the biggest thing is like you mentioned, juggling the full-time job and the landscaping business is very important, that you employ people that you can trust, but then also compensating them for what they're worth. Like I pay a lot of my guys more than what some of the other companies in the area do, because I always say it to them, and it really is, they laugh at me, but it really is the truth. Without them, none of this would be possible. I'm very fortunate where my foreman is very on top of his game, and he takes care of pretty much the day-to-day operations on the maintenance route. I have another gentleman who handles all of our irrigation work, and he's just on top of his game. Granted, do I sometimes get phone calls from clients with complaints and issues, and that need to be resolved? 100%. It's always will happen, but being able to have the correct people in place to help me out, it really is what made it possible. But the biggest thing is not getting greedy and trying to take too much for yourself. Like people like always will sit there and be like, wow, man, I want James's life. He's got, probably got $1 million. He's probably got a, nice new car. So that couldn't be further from the truth. I live paycheck to paycheck, just like 99% of America, because I see the value in reinvesting in the guys who take care of me, reinvesting into the company. So that way, when I'm 40, 45 years old, that I can live more comfortably, because I understand the value in working very hard right now to have a successful future. And that's really kind of what makes it possible. And,
I love that. Yeah.
There's some days where my head, I want to explode, and it is difficult juggling certain things. But, it's like sometimes I may go to sleep at 2 a.m. just because I'm so backlogged with between, doing my IT stuff and then handling customers and things like that. But like I said, the biggest thing is not being afraid to release some control and employing people who can support you and taking care of them accordingly.
How have you navigated the culture of your company when they know that you're potentially tied up, 9 to 5, working the job, and they do have a situation or a struggle or a problem that does need your direction, your leadership, or maybe you to make a decision on? How have you set them free, right, quote unquote, in your organization to blossom and to do what they're supposed to do? But then also, what if they have real problems? Like, how do they get a hold of you if maybe you're not available?
Yeah, so I mean, the biggest thing was when I first employed the people that are in the positions that they're in, like my foreman. I actually ended up taking some paid days off of work just so I could go out there, show them how it's done. And I was very fortunate enough where the foreman who I have now, he actually started with the company as just a regular maintenance laborer kind of thing, and he worked his way up to the foreman position. And I saw the value in what he brought, and he knew the route. Already knew what was expected of him from the company. He just needed a little bit of coaching on how to supervise the guys, and he's still learning just like I am. But the biggest thing is that he's come a long way and he cares. That's the biggest thing is having someone who cares and who has the drive to get things done. And yes, there is some times where there is some issues where they do have to give me a call. I'm in a very rare situation and very fortunate where my main full-time job is that I work 99% of the time from home. And being the fact that I do IT work, there's not very often that I'm on the phone with any employees or stuff like that. Most of what I do is just I kind of talk to myself or I'm typing in a chat. So I have a very rare circumstance. So don't think that everyone can do work a solid 9 to 5 and have a business of this size. And it's very difficult for me even sometimes to juggle both. And it's some days I sit there and I want to give up, but I just you got to look at the end goal and know that if you truly want to be financially free and be successful in life, you got to suffer for a few years.
Yeah. Well, and it's so funny that you said that. I've had many, and I've seen many people say this, and I've even seen this on Shark Tank many a times, where they'll look at somebody's business plan or somebody's looking to transition out of their 9 to 5 to their job, and they or to their own company, and they say, well, I need a starting salary of at least $80 grand or $300 grand a year. Right. And I'm thinking to myself, Frank, like, with all due respect, you're out of your freaking mind. I said, you're gonna have to live on zero income or maybe 30 grand a year for at least a year or two or a couple of years to get this thing off the ground. I remember watching a Shark Tank clip where a guy literally said, like, I think the two people presenting both had the budget or something like that, and they were looking it over and they said, what's this 150 grand or 175 grand a year salary? And that was 175 grand or something like that. Somebody fact checked me, but it was like both of the founders that were pitching wanted $150,000 a year salary because they were both working 9 to 5, making 150 grand a year. And the Sharks,
and that's not possible. It's
just not possible, folks. Like, the Sharks literally ate these people alive. I don't even think they did a deal because they're like, you guys are so committed to, you're not making money. Quote, what's the best way to say it? They had, like you just said, they had so short-term thinking, not long-term thinking. And the Sharks were like, no. All that's going back into R&D, hiring, staff, infrastructure, blah, blah, blah. And if you guys aren't willing to work for free or 30 grand a year or less, or maybe take a reduction in your lifestyle, then it's just like impossible to partner with that kind of individual. And I would agree, obviously Mr. Wonderful needs a nod from yours truly, but, I'm just kidding, by the way. But my point is, like, dude, you're making good money, quote unquote, 9 to 5 by all measures of success. You were telling me some numbers before we record. Like, you're making good money, but you're, like you said, pouring not only everything back into the lawn landscaping business,
correct,
which I preach as much as I can, reinvest as much as you can for as long as you can. But you're also taking your 9 to 5 to pour into the company to get that thing up to altitude, and then lo and behold, in 3 or 4 years, you're running $1 million company with 10 guys. And then, as always, people say, must be nice. Must be nice.
Yeah, it's not. Trust me, it's not. And the biggest thing too is like another thing that people always, like, not only is it, all these things that I said about, Angie's List and all that helped, propel my business, is the fact that I was very fortunate where I didn't have to take a salary from the business. I didn't get greedy and took money out of the business. I reinvest 100% of the profits, and sometimes even took out loans to propel the business even further, to get equipment, trucks, whatever it may be, to sustain the business that we were growing. And yes, am I very aggressive in terms of our growth? 100%. But at the same time, I want to be the biggest landscaper in my county, and I will not stop until I get there.
Man,
and
so awesome.
The biggest thing, that just I want to say is, and I hate to be the Debbie Downer, but don't leave your full-time job until you know that this is going to work, and B, that this is 100% what you want to do. Because, just to throw out some numbers real quick, they say 20% of businesses fail within the first 2 years, 45% within the first 5 years, and 65% in the first 10 years. So you may follow up with me in 2 years from now, and maybe things all fell apart and go crumbling down, but at the same time, don't be afraid to take risks, because when you're at a young age, or even, when you're 28 years old, as long as you don't have, anyone that depends on you, like kids or anything like that, it's okay to take risks. Because worst case scenario, things don't work out, you take a step back and you go back to your full-time job, and it's a life lesson. Everything in life is a lesson, and it's what you take from it and how you move forward.
I'm telling you, folks, it's gold. It's gold. You're on fire. You sure you don't have a podcast or something yet? Like,
no, I don't. I did just start an Instagram though to try to give out some lessons.
Okay. So. Oh yeah, I love it. All right. Last question I got for you. A couple minutes here. It's not a stumper, but I know a lot of people ask me this question. We have a whole conference related to this topic. Working with your spouse, you're engaged to be married. She's probably seen the craziness the last couple of years, the current, the current season, and then of course I would imagine, because this is what I did. I had to spin the dream of where we're going. So a lot of guys are in that same boat. You're in the engagement season. I don't know if you guys have a date planned yet for the wedding and all that fun stuff, but how are you navigating that 90 to 120 hours a week, while also trying to promise the little girl, the wifey, the engaged, to be, princess and the queen, I'm just saying, bro, like, guys want to know, like, how are you navigating those conversations? Cause I'm sure, we're in the thick of it, and Liz and I have arguments every single day and every week. And we're always working together. They say when iron sharpens iron, yes, but when iron sharpens iron, there's also friction, and those sparks fly. So, loaded question, but how are you guys navigating this season of your life? What are you doing with the girl to keep her on board, to keep her happy? Anything that you've learned of wisdom along the last couple of days, weeks, months, and years? I would imagine it'd pay some dividends for some of these guys listening and trying to do the same thing you're doing. So
yeah, absolutely. I mean, so I've been with my now fiance. We've been together for 7 years. So we started dating right out of high school.
Okay.
Because I'm 25 now. So I mean, the biggest thing is as much as this is a journey for you, it's a journey for her. Whether she's involved in it or not, you have to find someone who understands what you're doing and is willing to accept that there may be some days where you can't be there, and you have to be, taking phone calls at 10 o'clock at night. But the biggest thing is making sure at the same time that you do make the time to spend with your loved one. I always try to make sure at least, every night, we, try to have, dinner together. We try to do activities, I dedicate at least one day a week to her. And that's the most important thing, is not forgetting about her. And even just, for example, like we throughout the day, I'll text her, hey, thinking about you. Hope you're having a great day. Love you lots. The little things like that just go a long way to know that while you're out there working, that you're thinking of her. And the biggest thing I always tell her is, I'm out here doing this for you, for us, so that way we have a sound future. Because at the end of the day, we all want to grow old together, with our loved ones, have a family, get a house, all that fun stuff. And it's just a reminder that you're doing it for them, and reassuring that you love them, and you're not going anywhere. And you will have days where you have arguments, but the biggest thing is that, just like everything else, is arguments are okay, as long as you're not arguing over the same things repeatedly. Arguing means that you care and that you want to improve the relationship, just like how you want to improve a business. A relationship's like a business. You need to, put, effort into it, and, show that you care, and progressively solve problems and move forward, so that way together you guys can move forward in life.
I love that, man. And one thing I'll add, I love what you said, but this is something that helped me a long time ago. There's a couple great books out there. A lot of them are Christian, faith-based books, but they're Amazon bestsellers, Barnes & Noble bestsellers for a reason, Christian or otherwise, folks. Like relationships are relationships. But the 5 love languages, personality books, like Wired That Way, all that kind of stuff. Be efficient. Like learn the way that your girl communicates. Learn the way that you communicate, like your love language. So there's 5 categories. Not going to go into it. Go pick up the book for $20. Don't be cheap. Okay. But how Liz, I fill her love tank, and what she likes and what she needs relationally is entirely different than what I do. And
correct.
So that's number 1. But number 2, how we communicate to the other person. I might communicate how I want to get filled up to her, and that doesn't fill her up. And then I go, what do you mean you're emotionally drained or depleted or empty? Well, because I'm not communicating my love language style or her love language style to her. I'm communicating my love language style to her, and that works both ways. So maybe you only get that 1 day a week, or those 3 hours a week, or maybe an hour a night. And if you're not communicating and filling up that love tank, that love bank, and all that other stuff, this is a macro conversation we talked about at the conference together in the trades we host annually with the Almonds. These are those conversations we have at that conference to keep your spouse involved and engaged, and to keep everybody happy and on the same page and working towards the same mission. So, those date nights we talk about, like every week, no matter hell or high water, landscaping clients or not, the most schedule got done or not, I need to pull a long day or not, XYZ PDQ, like nothing gets in the way of those like sacred, non-negotiable date nights, or that Sunday family dinner, that Sunday family day, like if you got kids in a family. So I love what you're saying there, man. That's so awesome, and I'm glad that you found a quote unquote a ride or die chick that that's with you, so the whole way. That's awesome.
And just real quick, just one thing that you said that was just really is really the best thing is just it's the communication. And if you're having a rough day, don't be afraid to be like, oh well, I'm a big tough guy that I can't talk about my emotions. No, that's a bunch of BS. And if anyone who tells you about that, they're insecure about themselves. Always communicate to your loved one. Like, listen, I only got 10% in me today. I really had a rough day. Communicate that. That's really what goes a long way. I literally had that exact same situation yesterday. I told Liz, I was filming some videos. I got some videographers that came in. We filmed a lot of videos and a lot of content in a short amount of time. And I came home and I told Liz, I said, I'm on 0. I said, I'm whatever's below 0, minus 20. I said, I'm depleted. She ordered some DoorDash. I literally was in bed at 8:00. I mean, for real, bro. But you know what? She it wasn't a time to be like, hey, the house this, the barn that, the lawn landscape company this, or hey, what about a quip, or you know what I mean, XYZ. She just knew hey, I'm at 0. I don't have any time for anything tonight. I've got no capacity left. And by the way, Liz says that all the time. She goes, I don't have capacity for this. Talk to me later, and that's fine. So it's the communication.
Yeah,
we're not all Superman.
Yeah, and I mean, same thing with your spouse, but same thing with your guys. Hey, man, I got an important IT day today. I'm at a conference. I'm on a very VIP call. You guys got to figure it out today. It's just communication, dude.
Correct.
Okay. So really quick, let's kind of button it up. I'm going to tease with the new Instagram that you just put together, because I'm going to be following that page too. So you better be putting this good advice out there on that too as well, brother. Because if you're
Thank you.
if you're spending if you're spending this fire on the podcast, I want to hear some more on Instagram. So long story short, where can people find you? And I'm sure we'll get you back on the show before you know it. We'll get these updates, and I'm sure you're going to be going full time before you know it. Maybe once you cross that bridge, we'll get you back on the show and all that mess. But where can people find you, man? I just want to say thanks for taking time to be on the show. This is awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm so happy to be here, and hopefully I can come back on here some more and talk more stuff, and maybe one day you'll be in New York and I can show you how we do things on the East Coast. But my Instagram for our landscaping business is RN Lawns, so that's Robert November Lawns. And then my personal page that I'm trying to spit out some really good advice is Boston, BOSSIN _JF.
Boston _JF. What's the Boston JF? What does that mean? Is that an acronym or something, or it's just your Instagram?
Brian, I told you I'm German. It's German for boss.
Boss. Okay. Sehr gut. All right.
Everything goes back to the German.
That's awesome, bro. I studied German for 4 years in high school. I remember and retained very little. You know what I mean? Usually just the swear words like everybody else. But
100%. That's always what we remember.
Yeah. I mean, nobody. There's no fury like a German screaming at you, right?
I mean, even when they're telling you they love you, it still sounds angry.
I know. I was like, this is awesome. This is my language for sure, bro. I actually love all that stuff. my older brother took 4 years. I took 4 years. My younger brother took 4 years. Liz is like, why didn't you learn Spanish or anything? I'm like, because dude, culturally, they're awesome. German people are crazy, bro. I love it, you know. So,
yeah, they always say, everyone always tells me, Fritz is nuts, man.
Fritz is nuts.
Yeah, I'm crazy. I really am.
I love it.
I'm a New Yorker and German. You can't get much worse than that.
Yeah, that's intense, bro. That's God bless your wife, you know, or your girl to be. So,
yeah. But she's from the opposite. She's from Oregon, so.
Oh, she's probably like a country bumpkin, pretty chill. You're like the crazy one, right?
Oh yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's why we balance each other out.
That's the yin and the yang, bro. I love it, man. I love it. All right. Well, hey, super appreciate the time. I got to run. Thanks so much again, brother. And we'll get you back on the show before you know it, all right?
Yep. Thanks for having me, man. I really appreciate the time. Look forward to talking to you again soon.
You bet, James. All right, guys. Well, hey, thanks so much for listening to the podcast episode, guys. Lawns, lessons, life. You know, at the end of the day, we're talking a little bit about all the above on today's podcast episode. James has got going on, but you can tell there's hard work that's going on there in front and behind the scenes. I was joking before we started the podcast. I said, man, you probably got the bags under your eyes to prove it. The dude is busy like you wouldn't believe. But you know what? I'm glad that he was able to take 30 minutes out of his schedule today and pour into you guys. So if you guys appreciate the podcast, don't forget to leave us those 5-star ratings and reviews. We super appreciate that. Just kind of social proofs the podcast and lets the next guy listening in that's looking to discover the podcast that, hey, we got some good stuff here and add some value to those listening in. Guys, that's what I got for you on today's podcast. Have a great week, and we'll look forward to catching up with you guys here on the next one.
Start planning today to celebrate the 40th Equip Exposition Trade Show this October 17th through the 20th in Louisville, Kentucky. Expo is the best place for landscapers to find the latest equipment, tools, and technology to get more productive and efficient. And then you can go into our 30-acre demo yard and test the products for yourself. Explore new business opportunities in one of our 50-plus education sessions and learn firsthand from experts in landscaping, hardscaping, irrigation, pool installation, tree care, and outdoor lighting. And don't miss the new Thursday night arena concert with Third Eye Blind and Dylan Scott. Also, there's our UTV test track and our main stage events with top-notch speakers like Brian Fullerton. And remember, you can save 50% on the ticket price with Brian's discount code. We've provided a link for you in the show description. See you at Equip.
Thanks for taking the time to listen to the Fullerton Unfiltered podcast with Brian Fullerton. We hope you enjoyed this production. If so, please consider leaving us a 5-star review for the show. While the techniques and ideas presented here are designed to help you grow a more successful and profitable business, no one can guarantee these results for you. We want to emphasize that entrepreneurship is not easy, and the ideas presented here are just the opinions of Brian Fullerton and his respective guests. No one can guarantee success for you. That being said, we hope the ideas presented here help you and motivate you to go on out there and crush it with your own business.
Fullerton Unfiltered Podcast.
Thanks for listening, and we hope to see you on the next episode.
This has been a Brian Fullerton and Mr. Producer production.